Hello guys, welcome back to our online classes. Let's start. So, I want you to think, what methods of transportation do you use and why do you use it? Personally, I have been using Transmetro lately, and I think it's a really good choice, It gets a little full, but it's a good choice. What about you guys? Think about it and we're gonna discuss this during class. So, we're going to talk about transportation methods, and I want you to pay attention. What transportation methods do they mention? So, let's pay attention and check.
I have a car. I drive to work. I don't take the train. My husband doesn't drive to work. He has a bike, so he rides his bike to work. My kids walk to school. They don't take the bus.
So, what methods of transportation do they mention? Well, they mention car, train, bike, walk, and bus. So, I'm gonna play the audio one more time and I want you to complete the missing gaps. Ready?
I have a car. I drive to work. I don't take the train. My husband doesn't drive to work. He has a bike, so he rides his bike to work. My kids walk to school. They don't take the bus.
Okay, so let's check the answers. I drive to work. I don't take the train. My husband doesn't drive to work. He has a bike, and he rides his bike. My kids walk to school. They don't take the bus, right? Okay, so let's continue. So I want you to notice these examples, right? Look at examples. What is different between the sentences? Do these activities happen one time or many times? Which ones are positive, negative, and which ones are questions? So I want you to stop the video and analyze these examples, and then we're gonna check the answers. Did you finish analyzing? Okay, let's check the answers. So, in some sentences, the verb has an S, right? Takes, for example. The ones that are positive are I take the bus every day, he takes the bus every day. The negative is he doesn't take the bus every day. And the question is, does he take the bus every day? What do you think? Did these activities happen one time or many times? Yes, they happen many times, right? Okay, good job. So today we're going to talk about simple present. So here I have the structure. When you have I and you, we're going to use the verb like a normal verb. But when we're using he, she, or it, the verb has an S. Yes? And then we go back to the verb in normal form if we're talking about we, you, and they. Now, in negative form, we're going to use the auxiliary don't and the verb in base form for I, you, we, you, they. But for he, she, it, we're going to use doesn't. And then the verb is going to stay in base form. Why here it has an S and here it doesn't? Well, we already have the S in the auxiliary. Doesn't. So we shouldn't use double S when we are working with our verbs. Now, this is the simple present, but that's the form. How do I use it? Well, we're going to use the simple present to talk about things that are generally true or that they happen usually or with a frequency or with a routine, right? Do you work only one time in your life? No. You usually wake up every Monday to Friday and you work. So I work every day. It's a routine, right? Yeah. Or he works every day. Yeah. We use the contractions don't or do not or doesn't or does not. You can use both the contracted or the extended form. Now, to make negatives, like I said before, we're going to use don't or doesn't and the verb in base form, right? For example, he doesn't work, nor he doesn't works, because we already have the S here, right? Yeah? Now, we can also use it when we're also going to use it when we're going to talk about routines, like I told you, or things that are true. But specifically, the most important part, or not the most important, but the most tricky part is when you use it to talk about he, she, it, because the pronunciation is going to change. For example, I work, he works. I play, he plays. I live, he lives. Now, when the verb finishes on ch, sh, o, we're going to change the pronunciation and we're going to say she watches, she finishes, she goes, or she does. And when the verb finishes on y, we're going to forget the y and add ies. Be careful with some he, she, it forms. For example, I have. Have is irregular, and we're not going to use haves. We're going to say has, because that's the irregular form of the verb have. Now, here we have that we can also use simple present to make questions, and of course the questions are going to be about routines or if things are true. Do you work in an office? No, I don't. Does she work outside? Yes, she does, right? So as you can see, we're again using the auxiliary, and we're going to use the auxiliary like we usually do it in the order before the subject, right? Yeah. Now the auxiliary for he, she, it changes, and we're going to use does, yes. And when we answer short answers, we can answer, for example, do I work? Yes, I do. No, I don't. Does he, she, or it work? Yes, he, she, it does, or no, he, she, or it doesn't. So remember, use do or does with he, she, it to make questions, right? Do and does can be the auxiliary verb to make simple present questions. Do you speak English? Does she live here? But do can also be a normal verb. I do my homework in the evening. In this sentence, do is not an auxiliary, but it's actually the verb do. So he does housework every day, right? The word order for simple present questions is auxiliary, the do and does, the subject, I, you, he, she, etc., and the base form of the verbs. Yeah. So, guys, I want you to check out what do you see repeated in these questions, when does it happen, and we're going to discuss this during class. Guys, thank you for watching today's video. I'll see you in class. Bye.